If you look at the statistics, you will realize there's a scary pattern emerging. With more women dancing to the tunes of feminism, there are even more women swaying to the blues of loneliness. In the past 2 to 3 decades, women have gone on to pursue their education, careers, and business, and have avoided finding steady partners for marriage to raise a family. While pursuing education and even a career shouldn't be discouraged, what feminism did was that it encouraged women to pursue a life where they started to hate men. This ideology over time also equated feminism to taking over men in society. With more women in traditionally masculine roles in society, they had to invest their time in those roles, such as corporate executives, government leaders, and owners of large businesses. Eventually, these women spent their prime climbing the corporate ladder, and when they went past their biological clock, they realized they had missed one of the most important aspects of living: family, partnership, children. Now, these older women feel alone and desperate, childless and purposeless, without any partners to rely on, and without any family to live for. What's worse is that they don't even find the type of man they want to start a new life with. Men, on the other hand, have had their fair share of instances with women, and now they don't trust women who are older and more masculine. The statistics share a similar story. 45% of working women between the ages of 25 and 45 will be unmarried, childless, and single by the year 2030. This is an alarming prediction that people should be talking about. 45% of working women is not a small subset of the female population. It's a giant number, and practically means every other woman you know. By 2030, more than half of women who are of marriageable age between the ages of 25 and 44 will continue to be single. In 2030, they will be those ages and unmarried, which is a rather steep climb. Indeed, Morgan Stanley commissioned a study so that its investors would know where to invest their money over the next 10 years, since they are so certain about this. If you look around, even in traditionally conservative countries, the quality of relationships has gotten so bad that people no longer marry and live together for the rest of their lives. One of the highest rates of cheating in the world is in Thailand. Due to the fact that the majority of women provide men with little value, I do not advocate partnerships in the dating world. Why would I urge couples to get together and promote global travel if the woman you end up with can easily disappear from your life? You cannot presume that everyone in your country is like the woman from whom you are attempting to flee if you ever face hardship. Remember that you can't escape social media. As a result, individuals around the world experience the same level of decadence as us, and both countries are seeing an increase in the number of single women and men. One could anticipate that their birth rate would be stable given their conservatism and emphasis on family. There are consequently more single men and women than before. The declining populations in the East are another reason that contributes to women not having children globally. I finally realized that China's policy of restricting the number of children a couple can have been what's causing the country's population growth problems. The current state of the dating environment is not promising. In fact, it will be evident from a recent report on the rise of unmarried men and women in China that courtship and marriage are declining. A modern Chinese city's regulations should take into account the growing number of people who live alone. If I'm being totally honest, that sounds like a horror movie's opening. The maintenance of the family name is prized in traditional Chinese society. Therefore, when their kids are ready to get married, parents tend to get involved. The one-child restriction is strengthened as the country is destroyed. The age of being single stands in stark contrast to this reality. Numerous kids wind up disappointing their parents as a result of the recognized trend of singleness among Chinese adolescents. The conversation about single women in their 30s is typically negative. The term leftover women is overused in China's popular culture, which has made parents of unmarried women more anxious and put more pressure on their children. The fact that Chinese men and women have trouble getting pregnant while having a family structure and being under pressure to have children fascinates me. I don't get why having children would be a problem if you don't have the media and a goal to ruin families, like how it is in the West. Modern women, on the other hand, are so self-absorbed and naive that they will blow up the family, ruin the inheritance, and run with the money because they are driven to make bad choices for everyone. The Bible claims that the desire for material prosperity is the source of all evil. Future generations of women will show this by divorcing for no other reason than their own satisfaction on a regular basis. Women and family members are the weakest links since they may be wolves in sheep's clothing. The wealthy will always succeed in their endeavors. It is terrible that most of us have already reached this point, or will never be able to attain elite status as a result of a woman's unwillingness to commit to a relationship. According to research, the proportion of families with just one person increased from 4.9% in 1990 to 14.5% in 2010. Of the 200 million estimated unmarried adults in China in 2018, more than a third live alone. Due to the elderly's tendency to live alone, the economy has prospered. Due to increased development and economic opportunity, the commercial and industrial sectors increasingly serve as the center of society. Industrialization plays its part indeed. As a result of industrialization, a large number of young people are leaving the agricultural workforce. Unprecedented levels of urbanization have occurred in rural areas, and there has been an internal movement of people from the countryside to the metropolitan urban cities that are sprawled across the large country. When we talk about dating older women who might have made bad choices in their lives or through their own will, now find themselves in a position where they're successful and have all the money they want, but have missed out on the chance of starting a family and raising kids, I think such women will find it increasingly difficult to attract men, and even if they do attract men, they're going to have a very tough time managing and keeping that relationship intact. Realistically, most men would not date older women if they could objectively evaluate them, determine their genuine value, and realize they are getting a bad deal. This explains why men are so often restrained by, and prevented from thinking properly by shame. The truth is that older women have a lot more baggage that they haven't dealt with. It's almost like every single thing that has happened in their lives, they put it in a sturdy burlap bag that they throw over their shoulders and carry around like it's a badge of honor. My opinion, and it's not just an opinion, it's based on talking to and observing, counseling, and helping dozens of men, and knowing their situations with middle-aged women. It's that middle-aged women are not desirable or exciting to be with. They have high expectations and fail to realize that men also need that rush of adrenaline when they're with a woman. If all a woman can bring to the table is worry, baggage, and problems, then it's just not worth it to be in a relationship with them. I want you to know that a man who doesn't care about shame and behaves as he pleases is unmanageable for women. Men won't escape the humiliation that has been put up to keep them from ending their relationships with older women until they stop caring about what other women think of them in public. So it really is doomed for women who are way past their marriageable age and haven't had any children. Society should not put the blame for that on men. If anything, the blame is on feminism, or rather, the extreme forms of feminism that told women they could live their whole lives without men. In order to understand why this is such a startling statistic, women must really recognize and study facts as well as some history. By the time they are in their late 20s and 30s by 2023, it warns them of an oncoming catastrophe that would bring a great deal of worry and grief to younger women. This large population of females will suddenly realize in their 30s and 40s how they no longer have the luxury of finding the type of guys they want when they are fed the feminist juice that tells them to pursue their careers instead of starting families. I say this with certainty. Men and women who go against what nature intended for them have suffered similar consequences throughout history. Women need to realize living a masculine life might just seem good at first, but it will rob them of meaning and purpose, leaving them alone and unhappy. Thanks for watching The Circle of Kings. As always, we're looking forward to your support. So please hit the like button, share this video with your friends, and subscribe to the channel to stay updated with everything all kings like yourself need to know.